Just looking, gets it to Bryant. Bryant dribbling, has to put it up for the buzzer. Banks it in! He banks in the goal!
A timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot!
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Scotty Talks NBA. I'm your host at Scotty Drown. You can find me on all social media accounts at Scotty Drown. That's TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all of the above. Be sure to give me a follow. And if you're not already subscribed and following DSM Media, make sure to subscribe to DSM Media on the YouTube channel. That's where this is streaming live to you from. But you can also follow DSM Media on Twitter at DSM_media and on TikTok at DSM Media. We have content coming out on both of those channels daily. So that's where you're going to want to keep up to date with us and stay involved. But the best place is going to be that YouTube channel. Turn the notifications on. You'll be notified every single time I and the rest of the DSM Media crew goes live. And of course, we're coming to you daily with Eagles content, Sixers content, Flyers content, Union content, Phillies content, Philly sports as a whole, but not only Philly sports, the entire spectrum of the NBA, NFL, MLS, MLB, so on and so forth. We cover it all day to day. But nonetheless, I'm going to be your NBA specialist here for today. With that being said, got all the house cleaning for DSM out of the way. If you don't know where to find DSM, you do. If you didn't know where to find DSM, you do now. Nonetheless, I also want to shout out our sponsors over at Gents Barber Lounge. As you know, DSM Media is brought to you by Gents Barber Lounge, the #1 barber in the Philadelphia location. Be sure to book your appointment at gentsbarberlounge.com. You can book your appointment in the Old City location or the Fishtown location right here in the city of Philadelphia. Here is some work from our sponsor. As you can see, the GOAT, Lane Johnson, in that video. Yes, he gets his hair cut by Gents Barber Lounge. That's right, gentsbarberlounge.com. Book your appointment today. Future two-time Super Bowl champion, Lane Johnson. That's right. In about a week and a half, we're going to have two-time Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles right here in this city. I'll probably be down at the parade. I'll be partying down in the city, out in the streets, maybe climbing on top of bus stops and light poles. I don't know where I'll stop. But I'm going to go nuts when the Eagles win that second Super Bowl next week against the Kansas City Chiefs. Which brings me to another point. I know on DSM Media, I say we cover it all. We cover the NBA. We've been shorting you guys on the NBA content. That's why I'm coming to you live today to bring that content, because we can't forget about the NBA. We can't forget about the Sixers here on this channel with all the excitement that's building around the NFL and the Super Bowl coming up, obviously including the Philadelphia Eagles. So while we have a ton of content planned around the Philadelphia Eagles, their Super Bowl trip, all next week, probably 4 or 5 days of content strictly from Turf Talk, me and Dylan Davis coming with just interviews with special media personnel from the Philadelphia Eagles. So we'll have you guys covered in that sense, but we will keep bringing that NBA coverage. I know we missed the last couple Sixers pregames. We're coming back tomorrow night, Friday evening, Sixers pregame live. For that Sixers and Spurs game. So just give you guys an update. Got a lot going on here at DSM. We're trying to bring our content in the best way, but we have you covered no matter what. That being said, let's get into the action. Let's get into the content of the show. Today on Scotty Talks NBA, we're going to talk about the Wednesday night recap. Obviously, we had some action last night. I believe 8 games last night on the slate. And then we're going to talk about updated power rankings as we do every single week here on Scotty Talks NBA. I'll give you my top 10 teams in the NBA as of right now. Very fluid list. Then we're going to hit second best team in the Eastern Conference, because this conference is highly competitive, right? And you really look at those first 4 seeds in the conference and think, when those teams are healthy, they could win the goddamn NBA championship for all we know. I want to take a look at each starting lineup, where each team is at right now, injuries, and who really, in the end, once we get to the playoffs, who is going to have the best shot at beating the Boston Celtics. Who's going to be that real 2 seed? So we'll talk about that. And then we'll get into the Thursday night slate. I'll get you my picks as well as best bets, nonetheless. We're going to keep this to 30 minutes. I'm on a tight window with work, everything, all the other content that we have scheduled here on DSM. So we're going to keep this to 30 minutes. Just a heads up, it's going to be a quicker episode. So don't mind me if I'm rambling and speeding on up. Definitely let me know how you're feeling in the comments. We'll get you involved in the show and make sure you guys are heard. Even though this show isn't live, it is pre-recorded. I will be in the comments section while the show is live on YouTube, and I will get back to each and every one of you as you comment. So just feel free to comment, right? Even though it's pre-recorded, we will still hear from you, get you on the show. With that being said, let's take a look at last night's action, starting with these guys. The Philadelphia 76ers hosted the Orlando Magic last night. This was a 105-94 win for the Philadelphia 76ers, snapping that one-game losing streak. They had just lost to the Orlando Magic on Monday night in Philly. So similar setup here. They had back-to-backs against the Magic. They were able to take care of business nonetheless. You had Joel Embiid with 28 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists. So didn't have to do as much as he did in that first matchup on Monday, but still did his thing and did enough for them to win this game, actually. So the big performance that I actually love and the player of the game for me is actually James Harden in this one. 26 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists. Came up big in the fourth quarter again. Really didn't require Joel Embiid to do much in the fourth quarter. I don't even believe Joel Embiid scored in the fourth quarter. He went into the fourth quarter with 28 points out of that third quarter. Harden led the way, right? Hitting 3 after 3. I believe he hit 6 threes in this game. 9 rebounds, 10 assists. He was 1 rebound away from another triple-double this season. Harden was definitely the player of the game here. On the other side for the Magic, you had Markelle Fultz, obviously returning to Philly for the second time in a row this week. 18 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. He looks good. He looks quick. He looks healthy. I'm really happy for Markelle Fultz and what he's doing down there in Orlando. And I think a side note for this Orlando team, right? This was only an 11-point victory for the Sixers on a Wednesday night after they just lost to the Orlando Magic, blew a 21-point lead at home against that same Magic team, right? So the Sixers came out and played what I would expect to be their hardest last night, even though it is the Magic, even though it is a random game on a Wednesday. I expect that the Sixers came out and played really hard last night, and the Magic only lost by 11. That team started out really slow. Obviously, it's a young team. It's a lot of new pieces. Paolo Banchero being one of the bigger ones, a rookie coming in, right? They're starting to get it together. We've seen them beat the Boston Celtics 3 times this season. You've seen them take the Sixers to the wire these last 2 matchups of this week. So this Magic team is growing. They're going to get really good. I shouldn't say really good because that's all perspective-based, right? They're not going to make the playoffs. I don't think they're going to get in as an 8 seed and shock the 1 seed or anything like that. They just have a really good future. And as the season goes on, I think they're going to be a lot more competitive. Hence, these 2 matchups with the Sixers this week. So keep your eye out for the Orlando Magic. See what type of noise they can actually make in the East. Because when you get to that bottom half, specifically the last 2 seeds, out of the top 8 teams, those are up for grabs by all means, right? Now, obviously, I haven't done all the math and all the work to see how far back Orlando really is. They're just making some really good strides right now, and I think that's what you have to take it for. The next matchup we had last night, we had the Blazers at the Memphis Grizzlies. This was a duel for the most part. Obviously, ended up a 10-point victory for the Blazers, 122-112. But you had Dame Lillard in this one, 42 points, 10 assists, 8 rebounds. He was 5 for 13 from the three-point line. Going head-to-head with Ja Morant on the other side, who had 32 points, 12 assists, 9 rebounds. Both of these point guards filled the stat sheet. It was ridiculous, a ridiculous matchup. But that's what you expect when you have the guys of the caliber of Dame Lillard and Ja Morant squaring off. That was a hell of a matchup. Along with Dame, you had Anthony Simons for Portland with 26 points, 4 assists, 3 for 7 from the three-point line. On the other side for Memphis, Jaren Jackson Jr., 18 points, 7 rebounds, 6 blocks. That's incredible. I saw a post earlier talking about Jaren Jackson Jr. and his blocks. This is like the 11th game that he's had over 5 blocks. I guess there was a lot of clamoring for him to be in that Defensive Player of the Year conversation. What I will say for Jaren Jackson Jr., he is a hell of a defender. He's a hell of a shot blocker specifically. Until you can stop the fouling issues, you can't be considered for Defensive Player of the Year. you have to be able to be in the game and play defense, right? Play defense without fouling. That's going to be the next step for Jaren Jackson Jr. if he really wants to get in that conversation. But nonetheless, Grizzlies taking the L here to Portland last night at home. That's a pretty bad loss for the Grizzlies. Next, we had the Nets at the Celtics. We don't have to spend too much time here. This was a 139-96 win for the Boston Celtics. They absolutely obliterated the Brooklyn Nets without KD. No Ben Simmons as well in this one. Jason Tatum, 31 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. Jaylen Brown, 26 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 7 for 12 from the three-point line. He had a hell of a night from behind the arc. Kyrie Irving, 20 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. And then Cam Thomas, the other notable net, 19 points, 2 assists. This was never a competition. I believe the Boston Celtics got out to like a 33-7 lead against the Brooklyn. I mean, just absolutely ridiculous. But it shows you the capabilities of this Boston Celtics team when they're at full strength, when they're full focus. So big win for Celtics at home. Nonetheless, this is one the Nets will want to forget about. Next, we had the Oklahoma City Thunder at the Houston Rockets. I actually had the Oklahoma City Thunder in this one. I just like their team a little bit more than the Rockets right now. But Rockets come away with the dub, 112-106. No Jalen Green, no Kevin Porter Jr. in this one. No problem. Eric Gordon with 25 points, 3 assists, 3 for 6 from the three-point line. Terry Eason, 20 points, 13 rebounds, 8 for 21 from the field. The reason I point out Terry Eason, rookie, energy, just pure energy. Obviously, you don't like the 8 for 21, but the 20 and 13, you'll take that, right, from a rookie off the bench. SGA with 24 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. He shot miserably from the field as well, 7 for 23. And then my guy, Josh Giddey. I'm going to keep hyping this guy up. 20 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. He does it all. He fills the stat sheet. Next, we had the Warriors at the T-Wolves, with the T-Wolves coming away with this win. This was also a surprise to me. D'Angelo Russell did his thing, 29 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Ant Edwards, second-rate player right there, right behind D'Lo with 27 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. On the other side, we had Steph Curry with 29 points, 10 rebounds, 5 for 12 from the three-point line. Great game for Steph nonetheless. Jordan Poole, 18.7 rebounds, 5 assists, so he filled the stat sheet as well. I'm waiting for the Warriors to put a streak together. They got to stop losing games like this. Nonetheless, you'll see my power rankings, how I really feel about the Warriors, but they got to put a streak together here soon to really solidify themselves as a contender, right? These are the defending champs. They're not supposed to be a 7 seed in the Western Conference. Next, we had the Sacramento Kings at the San Antonio Spurs. In this one, we had the Kings grabbing the W by 10, 119-109. Domantas Sabonis, man, 34 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, filling the stat sheet. He and De'Aaron Fox are lighting it up this season. That duo has to be one of the top duos in the NBA. I'm actually interested to look into that. I've just sparked another idea for the next show. I'm looking into Sabonis and Fox, where they rank as a duo, because they're killing it right now. Even in this game, you had Sabonis with 34 and 11. You had De'Aaron Fox with 31 points and 10 assists. So they both dropped 30. They both got into double digits in another stat column. They're playing lights out right now, right? They were able to come away with this dub against the Spurs, a team they should beat. Keldon Johnson, 18 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists for the Spurs in this one. Jacob Poeltl, 18 points, 12 rebounds, double-double for him. He should be a highly coveted prospect on the trade market, I would imagine, as we get closer to the trade deadline. I like Jacob Poeltl. Or is it Jakob Poeltl? Excuse my pronunciation right there. Next, we had the Raptors, who dropped another one on the road against the Utah Jazz. We had Fred VanVleet in this one with 34 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists. Triple-double from the little guy. And I say that with all due respect. He's just short. That's all. He's probably the same height as me. Short from an NBA perspective, right? But Fred VanVleet putting up the numbers there, 34, 12, and 10. Siakam, 21 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. Lauri Markkanen continuing to have his great campaign, 28 points, 13 rebounds. Jordan Clarkson, 23 points, 5 assists, 5 for 12 from the three-point line. He continues to look great. Utah Jazz just trying to stay afloat there in that Western Conference. They come away with the W in this one. Last game of the night, we have the Atlanta Hawks, 132-100 win over the Phoenix Suns. Trae Young in this one, 20 points, 12 assists, 3 for 3 from the three-point line. DeJounte Murray, 21 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 for 7 from the three-point line. Mikal Bridges, 23 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. Good night for him. DeAndre Ayton, 20 points, 9 rebounds, 9 for 12 from the field. Obviously, the Hawks took care of this one very easily on the road. No Chris Paul, no Devin Booker in this one. Trae Young, interesting. 3 for 3 from the three-point line. That's huge for him. Obviously, there was some speculation a couple weeks back about Nate McMillan and his perspective of Trae Young and shooting that three ball so loosely. Obviously, Trae Young has brought it back down to earth. He's shooting that ball a lot less and a lot more efficiently. And then on the other side, you have DeJounte Murray shooting more threes than him, which is interesting because you don't look at DeJounte Murray as that sharpshooter. But nonetheless, Hawks come away with the 32-point victory on the road against the Phoenix Suns. Big win for the Atlanta Hawks, who are trying to stay afloat in the Eastern Conference. As we keep it moving here, we have the top 10 NBA power rankings. As you know, I bring these to you every single week, updated fluidly. Coming in at number 10, let's get it popping. We got the Golden State Warriors, 26-25 right now. They're 7th in the Western Conference. They're on that one-game losing streak last night, losing to the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're 6-4 in their last 10, and they actually play Denver in Denver tonight. So that is obviously a huge matchup. It's on the tail end of a back-to-back. Does Steph, does Clay, does Draymond play? We'll have to wait and see. They should play. They need dubs, right? They call themselves Dub Nation. You got to get some W's. Nonetheless, these guys cracked my top 10. Honorable mention to the LA Clippers, to the Dallas Mavericks as well, who actually have better records than the Golden State Warriors. These are the defending champs. They're healthy. They're going to come around. They're going to get right. I'm waiting for that win streak to kick in. I'm getting ahead of it here by putting them at number 10. They're the defending champions. They're talented enough. They need to put it all together. Coming in at number 9, I talked about Sabonis, De'Aaron Fox. Giving some respect to that duo at 29-21. They're 3rd in the Western Conference right now. They've won 2 in a row. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They play the Indiana Pacers tomorrow night, Friday night. Ultimately, like I said earlier, one of the best duos in the NBA in De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. But on top of that, you have shooting. You have the perfect pieces around them with Harrison Barnes. You bring in Malik Monk, who's just explosive off the bench, right? You got Terrence Davis, another shooter off the bench. So they got pieces there in Sacramento. They're 3rd in the Western Conference, about more than a halfway through the season. This team's for real, right? 3rd in the Western Conference. Maybe they don't stay in the top 3, but this team's for real. I like what the Sacramento Kings are doing right now. Next, we have the Miami Heat at 29-23. They're 6th in the Eastern Conference right now. They've won 1. They're 7-3 in their last 10, and they play the New York Knicks tonight. You look at Miami versus Sacramento specifically. Miami has a worse record by 2 losses than Sacramento. My main thing with putting Miami over there, they've gotten healthy. This is a team that was in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. I would take them over the Sacramento Kings as of right now. We'll let the season play out, see if the Kings can stay above the Miami Heat as far as record-wise and honestly success-wise, right? Number 7, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers at 31-22. They are currently 5th in the Eastern Conference. They've lost 1. They're 4-6 in their last 10. And they play the Memphis Grizzlies tonight, which is going to be a huge game, by the way. With the Cavs, man, they're coming down to earth. They haven't moved from this spot in a couple weeks. They were up in the top 5 for the longest, but the winning has come down, right? They haven't been able to stay as healthy. The consistent play is my biggest worry here in running into tougher matchups, right? It's a team that I looked at. Do I put them in that top 4? No. For today's conversation, we will. But nonetheless, this is a team that I talked to you guys at the beginning of the season, a team I don't trust in the playoffs due to that backcourt situation. Small guards never work out in the playoffs defensively. We'll see how it works out for the Cleveland Cavs, who do have Evan Mobley and Jared Allen down there protecting the paint. Number 6, we have the Brooklyn Nets at 31-20. They're 4th in the Eastern Conference. They've lost 1. They're 4-6 in their last 10. They play the Washington Wizards on Saturday. Obviously, no KD right now. All they really need to do is stay afloat. Beat the teams that you're supposed to beat without KD. If you lose to the Celtics, to the Sixers during this stretch, it is what it is, right? They're just trying to stay afloat, keep them in the playoff scenario, in the top 5, which is what they're doing right now. So got to commend Kyrie in that unit as of right now. No Ben Simmons, and I don't know if he's ever going to play decently again, man. It's ridiculous. But on to number 5. We have the Memphis Grizzlies at 32-19. They're 2nd in the Western Conference. They've lost 1. They're 4-6 in their last 10. As I mentioned, they play the Cavs tonight. That's going to be a huge matchup. These are 2 teams. You look at them, 4-6 in their last 10. They're both coming off a loss. Both of these teams need this W to keep their standing in their respective conferences. So that's going to be a hell of a matchup. You talk about backcourts. John Morant, Desmond Bane versus Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. It should be a hell of a show. Nonetheless, I still like what Memphis is doing. Seems like they're just going through a bit of a slump right now. At number 4, we have the Milwaukee Bucks at 34-17. They're second in the Eastern Conference right now. They've actually won 5 in a row. They're 7-3 in their last 10, and they take on the LA Clippers tonight. Mainly, the main reason they're at number 4 right now, injuries, right? Bobby Portis just went down. They're still trying to work Chris Middleton in. Drew Holiday in and out of the lineup. Giannis is a little beat up. He should play tonight, but nonetheless, that's the only reason they're not in the top 3. Let's be honest. Coming in at number 3, we have the Denver Nuggets, 35-16. They're first in the Western Conference. They've won 1 game in a row. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They play Golden State tonight, as I mentioned earlier. And ultimately, the reason I have Denver behind the Philadelphia Sixers, for obvious reasons, Sixers took it to them on that Saturday showdown between Embiid and Jokic. They took it to them, and they showed they were the better team as of right now. Denver is fully healthy with Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray in the mix, additions of Bruce Brown, KCP. Love what they're doing. They are the best team in the West right now, with all due respect to the rest of the conference. But I still have these 2 teams above them right now. Number 2, the Philadelphia 76ers, 33-17. Have one less win than the Milwaukee Bucks, so they are third place in the Eastern Conference. They've won 1 coming off that win against Orlando with the loss to Orlando before that. They're 8-2 in their last 10, which is ultimately not just that 10-game sample size. There's something crazy like 21-5 in their last 26 games since the beginning of, or towards the end of December. They're just playing better right now. They're more healthy. They're more put together. They're playing more consistently good basketball, which is ultimately why you see Philly above Milwaukee, and then obvious reasons for them being above Denver. Number 1, as we go through every week, this has not changed. Boston Celtics, 37-15. First in the Eastern Conference. They've won 2 in a row, 7-3 in their last 10, and they actually play the Phoenix Suns tomorrow night. The Celtics, I don't need to say much. They're the best team in the NBA. They just blew the Brooklyn Nets out last night. I know it's no KD, but they beat them by 40+. I mean, that's ridiculous. So you know what they're capable of, especially when they're fully healthy. Not going to sit here and hype up the Boston Celtics all show. Moving on. Who is the second best team in the Eastern Conference? It's a conversation I wanted to have because it's a very popular topic right now. And the way I want to pose this question, obviously, let me know what you're feeling in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts on who's the second best team in the Eastern Conference. You look at Boston, they have separated themselves from the rest of the pack. They are the 1 seed. Barring injury, any drastic change with Boston, they're going to have the 1 seed in the playoffs, in my opinion. I just think they're that good. They're that talented. And right now, they are the best, most put-together team in the NBA. The way I pose this question, we're going to take a look at all 4 other teams aside from the Boston Celtics. I would personally say there's a big 4: Boston, Philly, Milwaukee, Brooklyn. You can add Cleveland in there if you like. You could also even add Miami, maybe. We'll see as the season goes on. You could add, I'm adding in Cleveland just for conversation's sake, have 5 teams here. We're going to look at their potential starting lineups with everybody healthy in the playoffs, what that would look like. So let's start at Boston, right? There's 37-15, best record in the NBA, best record in the Eastern Conference for sure. You have Marcus Smart at point guard, right? You can also insert Peyton Pritchard as a backup depth, right? Malcolm Brogdon can play the point guard or the shooting guard spot. You have Derek White, who starts at shooting guard right now. He's another versatile guard. He can shoot. He can shoot from outside. He can drive in the lane. He can assist. 2, 3 guards solid there. Very overall base, right? They're very well-rounded from a guard standpoint, talking about Marcus Smart, Derek White, and Malcolm Brogdon. At the small forward shooting guard space, you have Jaylen Brown. Obviously, he does his thing. He's an all-star. At the power forward, small forward sector of this team, you have Jason Tatum and Grant Williams. We know what Grant Williams can do in the defensive end. He can space the floor. Jason Tatum's in the MVP conversation, obviously. And then at center, you have Al Horford and Robert Williams, right? And those are the keys there. The key for both of them staying healthy because they're a hell of a defensive matchup. Al Horford can space the floor. They can actually play together at the same time in some instances. So that Boston team, you look at it down the line, right? Let's just go Marcus Smart, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, for conversation's sake here, who matches up best with that unit and then also has the depth to go along with it? So we'll start with the Philadelphia 76ers. This is the team I know best, obviously. You have James Harden at the point guard, a mix of Tyrese Maxey or DeAnthony Melton. Right now, Maxey's coming off the bench, so we'll go with D-Melt. Tobias Harris at the small forward, PJ Tucker at the power forward, and Joel Embiid at the center, right? With backup options, you have Matisse Thybulle, who can come in as small forward on the wing at shooting guard. You have Shake Milton that can also come in rotational guard, right? Montrezl Harrell, Paul Reed, those type of guys on the back end as far as big men. George Niang, also another forward option to replace Tobias and PJ there. So you have some depth there with the Sixers. You go to Milwaukee, you have Drew Holiday, Grayson Allen, Chris Middleton when healthy, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis is also a backup option when he's healthy for them. Pat Connaughton, another forward option. Javon Carter, he's actually looked really well in a backup role here with the point guard spot. He plays good defense, he can knock down the three. So obviously Milwaukee with Giannis at the forefront, they're one of the top teams in the East, we know. You look at Brooklyn, you have Kyrie Irving, Seth Curry, Joe Harris, you can also throw in that conversation. Kevin Durant, TJ Warren at the forward position. Ben Simmons, Royce O'Neal at the power forward position that you can go with. Ben can even play a little bit of center. And then Nick Claxton, he's kind of taken a step this season as far as his production. He's looked really well. He finishes around the rim. He blocks shots. So Brooklyn, they have a heck of a deep team right there as well, which we're seeing right now with KD out. And then the Cleveland Cavaliers, we can talk about them a little bit. We have Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell at the guard spots. You have Isaac Okoro at the small forward spot, Evan Mobley and Jared Allen to round out your front court. And then off the bench, you have guys like Ricky Rubio, who brings a ton of experience, a lot of facilitating appeal there. Karis LeVert, a guy that is just a heater, right? He can come out and get you 20 any given night. Seti Osman, nice versatile forward, can shoot the ball, bring the ball up the court, rebound. And Kevin Love, we know what he can do, spacing the floor, shooting the three, and then also a pretty good rebounder, even for his age at this point. So you look down that list of teams, and who is the best team? Who's the team that matches up the best with the Boston Celtics? I'm making this decision on the spot, guys. So let me know what you guys are thinking there. I'm making this decision on the spot. I'm going to go with a fully healthy Milwaukee Bucks team taking on the Boston Celtics. That would be the team that I think has the best opportunity to knock the Boston Celtics off. The reason being, I'm going to keep this short and simple for you guys. The reason being, you look at the Sixers per se, right? In the regular season right now, I would say the Sixers look like they would be the best matchup. They're deep. They're playing really well. You have Tyrese Maxey coming off the bench as a spark plug. You have DeAnthony Melton that plays really good defense. PJ Tucker that plays really good defense. Tobias Harris has stepped up as a defender. Joel Embiid works great as an anchor that can roam and protect the paint. Can we trust Harden in the playoffs? I'm not going to go that far just yet. Harden in big moments in the playoffs, especially against a rival in the Boston Celtics. I'm not going to go that far with my trust in Harden just yet. And two, can we trust Joel Embiid to stay healthy once we get through the latter part of the season and we get into the deeper part of the season, aka the postseason? Can Joel Embiid stay healthy? Will he be healthy at that point in the season? I can't count on that. So I'm going to move away from the Philadelphia 76ers for that case. The Brooklyn Nets is similar, man. KD's been injured a lot in the past couple years. Kyrie, we know he can exit the team at any time, given his mental condition and the things he's got going on off the court. But the biggest thing is Ben Simmons. You cannot count on him to show up in the playoffs, right? So there's a lot of question marks with the Brooklyn Nets. And then the Cavs, I've talked about this all season. I don't trust that backcourt. I don't trust the size of that backcourt, especially defensive-wise. Once you get to the postseason, you see a lot bigger guards. They're going to take advantage of mismatches. That's what the postseason's about. It's mismatch-based. And those create mismatches, having two short guards in your backcourt. So ultimately, I would go with the Milwaukee Bucks. You talk about Giannis. We know what Giannis does in the playoffs. There is no doubt about it. He can get you a finals MVP, literally. He can be the best player on the court in the playoffs. We know that. Drew Holiday can be the best defender on the court in the playoffs while also giving you 20 points per game. We know that. We've seen it on the biggest stage. Drew Holiday, he could take the responsibility of guarding a Malcolm Brogdon, a Marcus Smart, even a Jaylen Brown, right? You could take it that far with Drew Holiday's abilities. Chris Middleton, obviously, he's a guy that can get you 20 to 25 points when he's healthy and acclimated. Pat Connaughton could shoot the three ball off the bench. Grayson Allen, another shooter, right? And then, of course, Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis. I think this is what makes them the most lethal because Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis can space you out, but then also take you down in the paint and take advantage of mismatches. So similar to what Al Horford can do, Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis can do that probably at a better rate. So I think they match up the best. Giannis being that guy that can go head-to-head with Jason Tatum, and we know we can trust him. I have to go with the Milwaukee Bucks, even wearing this sweatshirt, even rooting for the Sixers, even acknowledging the Sixers are playing better basketball. They're healthier right now. I can't trust Harden in the playoffs. I can't trust that Embiid's going to be healthy in the playoffs. We have to wait and see. They have to prove me wrong, and I hope they do. I hope they do. With that being said, Bucks are that second best team in the East. To answer that question, I think that's who it is. Let me know how you're feeling in the comments. Nonetheless, I would love to see the difference in opinions here, and maybe let me know why. Right? If it's the Sixers, if it's the Nets, let me know why. But nonetheless, what we're gonna do now, we're gonna get into our Thursday night picks. As you know, every day I come to you with the daily picks every week on the weekly show. So we're gonna do the Thursday night slate. We have 7 games on the docket tonight, starting with that Lakers matchup in Indiana against the Pacers. For this game, LeBron is questionable, so we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. Looks like Tyrese Halliburton and Anthony Davis are both probable for this game. LA Lakers are the 2-point favorites as of right now. And as of right now, I would ride that. I'm going to go with the Lakers on the road against the Pacers. Halliburton coming back from the injury. We'll see if he's limited at all. I don't think he will be. He's a younger point guard. If he's coming back, I would imagine he is good to go. He's healthy. Shouldn't have to ease him back in too much tonight. But nonetheless, I'm going to go with the Lakers. I would imagine LeBron's going to play. AD sounds like he's going to play. Those two play. They're a better team than the Indiana Pacers in my eyes. Next, we have the Memphis Grizzlies visiting the Cleveland Cavaliers. This one's going to be on TNT. Cleveland a 6-point favorite in this one. Looking like Jaren Jackson Jr. is doubtful. Steven Adams out. Karis LeVert questionable for this game. This one was tough because it's easy for me to think, maybe I shouldn't go with the Memphis Grizzlies, the underdog in this one. No Jaren Jackson Jr. to kind of compete with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. But something about this Memphis team, I just feel like they're going to pull out this W. It's a gut feeling. I wouldn't put money on it. It's a gut feeling that I think Grizzlies are going to upset the table tonight. I'm going to go with the Grizzlies. Monster performance from Ja and Desmond Bane. Maybe Bane gives you the 5 or 6 threes tonight to give you that boost on the road. I'm going to go with the Grizzlies upset on the road against the Cavs. Next, we have the Miami Heat taking on the New York Knicks. Miami Heat being 2-point favorites in this one. I have the Miami Heat number 8 in my power rankings. You know what I think of them. They're coming off an Eastern Conference Finals trip where they lost to the Boston Celtics. This is a good team, right? They're getting healthy. They're getting to the right spot. New York Knicks, just so inconsistent. No Mitchell Robinson tonight. Who's going to battle with Bam Adebayo on those boards? I'm going to go with the Miami Heat in this one. They're the better team, right? They're healthier. They're the better team. Next, we have Charlotte Hornets at the Chicago Bulls. Chicago being a 6-point favorite in this one. No really big injuries to watch out for in this one. I'm going to go with the Chicago Bulls, even though they tend to lose the teams they're not supposed to. We're getting to that point where is it time for them to blow it up? Nonetheless, I'm going to go with the Bulls in that one. Next, we have the New Orleans Pelicans at the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas Mavericks are 5-point favorites on this one. Christian Wood is going to be out. Max Kleber out. Zion out. Dyson Daniels out for the Pelicans. I'm going to go with the New Orleans Pelicans. They're on a massive losing streak right now. I believe it was 7 or 8 games at the moment. They really need to bounce back. Dallas Mavericks, they have been that underwhelming team of the season so far, coming off their Western Conference Finals trip. I'm going to go with the New Orleans Pelicans, bounce back. Brandon Ingram, another game back from injury. I look for them to take this one on the road. Next, we have the Golden State Warriors at the Denver Nuggets. This is one of the biggest matchups of the evening, depending on who plays for the Warriors. As of right now, Denver is a 12-point favorite. That's within mind. This is a back-to-back for the Golden State Warriors. Steph, Draymond, and Klay may not play. We have to wait and see their game time decisions. Aaron Gordon is questionable for this one for the Denver Nuggets. Nonetheless, with all the speculation, Steph, Dre, Clay up in the air, I have to go with the Denver Nuggets in this one. I'm going to ride with Jokic and the Nuggets. Last game of the evening, we have the LA Clippers at the Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee, 3.5-point favorite. Marcus Morris, questionable for this one. John Wall is out. Giannis, probable. Obviously, Portis is out until mid-February, I believe. Nonetheless, I am going to go with the Milwaukee Bucks at home in this one. Just a little bit more healthier, right? A little bit more together, and I think they are the better team at this point in the season. Although Clippers are playing better basketball of late. They have gone on a little mini win streak themselves. So we'll see. This should be a great matchup. I'm going to go with the Bucks at home. Give them the favor there. Finally, guys, just to speed this up, I'm running on a tight schedule here. We got NBA best bets for the night. Go through these really quickly with you. There's just 3 tonight. I mentioned Tyrese Halliburton returning from injury tonight. Rebounds over 3.5 is at -106 on FanDuel. He's averaged 4 rebounds per game on the season, right? I get it. He's returning from injury. Maybe there's a risk of him, being on a time constraint. I don't think so. This is a 6'5" point guard. He can grab 4 rebounds in 1 quarter. I like his rebounding prowess. I like Halliburton to get that 3.5, the 4 rebounds tonight. Next, we have Bam Adebayo over 9.5 rebounds, -118. He averaged 10.5 rebounds in the month of January. He hit over 10 rebounds in 9 of 14 games in that month. And then you also look at the fact that there is no Mitchell Robinson in this game. So maybe the Knicks struggle to hit the boards. Nonetheless, Bam Adebayo, I see him taking advantage of that, grabbing 10 boards tonight. And then the final leg, we're going to stick on the boards. It's all boards tonight, actually. I didn't even realize that before I brought it to you, but we're going straight rebounds tonight. Paul George, over 6.5 rebounds at +112. He's hit that mark in 3 of his last 4 games. So those are going to be your 3 best bets of the night. We're going strictly rebounds tonight on this fine Thursday. And be sure to let me know if you're tailing me. Let me know what I did for you. If I cost you money, I'm sorry. Tail at your own leisure. But nonetheless, those are going to be your best bets of the night, guys. That is all I have for you on this episode of Scotty Talks NBA. It was quick, I know. Next week, we'll be back. It's going to be a lot of Eagles conversation, obviously, but we will be sure to bring you the Sixers pregames at least. So keep your eye out for that. But nonetheless, after the Super Bowl concludes, we will be back to Scotty Talks NBA twice a week. I'll be here twice a week for you out of 7 days. But nonetheless, have a great rest of your Thursday, guys. Enjoy the weekend. Go Birds, go Sixers. You know how it is. We rep Philly to the fullest. But thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time, guys. Peace.